Very much welcome to Wednesday edition of the program Nigeria Today, which is a news and current affairs program where we take a look at trending issues within and outside the country. My name is Maimuna Muhammad Babangida, and I have my co-president and analyst at the same time talking about Dr. Muhammad Ntala Ali. And together, as usual, we'll be taking a look at trending issues. And this time around, we'll be taking a look at fight against corruption by the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, most especially in his recent outing, giving a matching order that if any Nigerian come forward to demand for, solicit for a kind of corrupt practices, it should be reported directly to him. This is the marching order given by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all in the fight against corruption within and outside the country. So this is our focus this beautiful Wednesday morning in the program Nigeria Today. You too can be part of the program by calling through the number 09038808883. That is 09038808883. You can post your comment on our Facebook page, Prestige FM Mina, and we are streaming live on our Facebook page, Prestigefm91.7mx. That is Prestige FM 917mx, and on YouTube, Prestige FM 91.7mx. That is Prestige FM 91.7mx, and on radio app, prestigefmradio.org.ng. That is prestigefmradio.org.ng. Dr. Muhammad Ntala Ali, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, and good morning, our listeners.
Okay, on the fight against corruption, President Bola Tinubu in Qatar giving marching orders, saying that if, as a result of the business MOUs that they have signed between Nigeria and Qatari Republic, if any official or anybody coming from Nigeria demands for bribe, it should be reported to him directly.
Well, this should go on to tell you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is aware of the Nigerian factor, which has always been the recurring decimal of corruption. Corruption has remained endemic in Nigeria, and that is undeniable. And it shows also that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is quite aware of this, and he knew that over the years, corruption has truncated Nigeria's path to progress. And because of that, a lot of investors, potential investors, were chased away by unscrupulous Nigerians who were demanding for one thing or the other from such kind of investors. And we must understand that even though we cannot remove corruption completely from the face of the earth, other countries are also involved in corruption, agreed. But again, that of Nigeria, I think, is quite alarming. And I do not blame President Bola Tinubu for coming out to make such kind of statement, even though diplomatically is a wrong statement.
That is where I'm heading to.
Yes, even though diplomatically is a wrong statement, but of course, it is not in everything that you apply diplomacy. There are times when you just have to be very pragmatic in your approach. And I think Bola Tinubu is trying to be very pragmatic in this situation. He knew that the Nigerian system, which is riddled with corruption, will definitely show its head. And that is why readily at the point of signing those treaties, he readily informed the will-be investors so that to give them the reassurance that Nigeria will not be what they are thinking of. Nigeria will not be as business as usual. He is come with a change and to ensure that there is a smooth business transaction between investors and the Nigerian government as well as the Nigerian society. So for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to make such kind of statement, I think is because he has been pushed to the wall and he is yearning for investment. It is very laborious for a president to leave the comfort of his family, to leave the comfort of his country, to go to another country to make concerted efforts to convince investors to come into Nigeria to make an investment, only for somebody who is just sitting in the comfort of his bedroom to begin to truncate that effort of Mr. President. So I think he has merely said this to put fear in the minds of Nigerians who may be nursing such kind of ambition. But again, diplomatically, I think there is a more subtle way of making such kind of submission rather than even making such kind of a statement of people demanding for money for one thing or the other.
In as much as the president is rightly said is right in making such statement, but diplomatically wrong.
Yes.
Not forgetting the battered image of Nigerians in the world, especially if it has to do with business transaction. Is he reaffirming that truly Nigerians are having such characters? Not forgetting the fact that we have upright Nigerians who have been doing their lawful businesses all over the world.
Yes, I agree with you. There are quite a number of Nigerians who have contributed meritoriously to global stability, whether in humanity or in other aspects of human endeavor. But again, the battered image of Nigeria is undeniable in all climes, whether in Europe, in Asia, in fellow African countries, or even in the Americas. You discover that Nigeria's image has not been positive all along. Many individuals have always been very skeptical with making businesses with Nigerians. No matter how convincing a Nigerian will sound, you discover that the other person will continue to remain very skeptical about going into business with an average Nigerian because they felt that a Nigerian should not be trusted. And that is what has contributed to many investors being put off when it comes to issues of coming to Nigeria, of some kind of sharp practices that were being perpetrated by Nigerians. And many of them also got shortchanged by a lot of Nigerians. So you discover that at every point of investment activities, there are those Nigerians who are out there to sabotage the investment effort, be it from the simple laborer that is employed to work on the field to the executive officer who is employed to work in the office. You discover that they all come with this attitude of corruption. Only few of them, and the few are microscopic in such a way that the corrupt ones appear to overwhelmingly overshadow the good ones. And that is why, despite the enormous contributions made by Nigerians, most of those contributions are not seen because as soon as they are being discovered and realize that they can make contributions, they change their nationalities. The host countries give them nationalities, and they pick up the nationalities of those countries. Only the name remains. It is only you who is a Nigerian that will continue to identify that Femi or Ogochukwu is a Nigerian actually. But when you look at his papers, he's actually an American or a British or sometimes even a Norwegian or a Swedish. These are the things that are happening. You see an individual physically a Nigerian, but when you look at his papers, he's not. Because he is making enormous contributions and does not want to be associated with Nigeria. Only few patriotic ones have associated with Nigerians, but even at that, their contributions have not been able to come to limelight the way it should, because they've been overshadowed by the rotten rodents among the Nigerians who are engaged in doing businesses internationally. So I believe that Tinubu's submission is apt because it is coming at the right time when the investors are almost being convinced to come to Nigeria and make investment. And he is simply giving them a reassurance that their monies will be safe and that the government will always be there to back them in case if there are threats that are coming from a lot of Nigerians. I have sometimes ago submitted this to a friend when we were discussing in a circle, and he appears not to agree with me. But again, this terrible statement will go a long way in convincing him. When I told him that nearly every Nigerian has the tendency for corruption. All you need to do is to give him the opportunity, and you will see those tendencies. And he said, no, there are upright Nigerians. I told him, I agree there are upright Nigerians, but I said nearly all. And nearly all does not make all. But again, the ones that are corrupt appear to overshadow those that are not corrupt. And that has always been our bend. Look at what is happening even in the oil sector. You can see Nigeria has the potential to produce over 3 million barrels of crude oil per day. But what are we producing today? Less than 2 million barrels. The whole of over 1 million barrel is going down through oil bunkering, through crude oil thefts on the sea, and so many other things. So you realize that Nigerians are colluding with their foreign collaborators to shortchange the country. And these are the things that are happening. Investors will come, and then Nigerians will open the way for them to shortchange the country, because they don't have the feeling for the country at all. So that is why even at this point now, he's trying to encourage the investors to come in, and then to also give them a reassurance that their monies will be safe, and that no any other threat should make them to cave in as much as they are going about their lawful businesses. Anybody who is coming with such kind of proposals, they should not oblige to expose such kind of person.
Commendable for the president to stand before the international community to make such statements. Nigerians are having mixed feelings, hoping that it might not be a kind of policy statement without backing it up with action. If you look at the fight against corruption so far, 9 or 10 months after the assumption in office of President Tinubu, have they really performed beyond expectations in Nigeria locally? Let's look at it.
Well, in the fight against corruption, I think it's because that aspect has been underreported by the media. Maybe that is why a lot of Nigerians are unaware of the quantum of progress that has been made. You are here when Beta Edu, the Minister of Humanitarian, was involved in corrupt practices. The president didn't waste time. After getting all the necessary evidences and briefings, he didn't waste time to drop her. And we are also in this country, when the immediate past Minister of Humanitarian was also invited by the EFCC, we also saw a director in that ministry who was also equally invited because of corrupt practices. We also saw the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, who was involved in that shenanigan of parading a branded Ethiopian airline as Nigerian Airways, was equally invited by the EFCC. We saw quite a number of ministers of the former administration being invited by the EFCC. So I believe that the government maybe silently is making achievement in that aspect, but that aspect is equally being underreported by the media, either because the EFCC does not speak to the media, or probably the media did not pay much attention to that aspect. But I believe that there is a serious fight against corruption that is ongoing at the moment. We knew that corruption cannot be wiped out completely, because one, it is endemic, and then secondly, it has become systemic. And when you are dealing with something that is systemic, of course, it takes a very long time, and of course, it is also equally very laborious, because the very people you engage to fight corruption are equally entangled in corrupt practices. So that is why I say it is systemic. And you can see that many of the individuals who are also fingered in corrupt practices are either spouses of the children of the people who are ruling the country, or they are husbands to the children, or wives to the children, or to the people who are friends to the other person. You know, a lot of these nepotic connections are always there. And that is why what is even making the fight against corruption to be even more difficult, because of this family tie that has been entangled. We saw it happen when, even before the last administration went up, we saw how some marriages were contracted very quickly, simply to evade trials. But again, I think this administration is doing a lot of things in the fight against corruption. And we hope that the anti-corruption agencies like the EFCC and the ICPCs will begin to come out to the public and make a lot of pronouncement. And then the government too should not shy away from coming out to the public to make such kind of announcement, because the fight against corruption should be a public thing. It shouldn't be a private thing. It shouldn't be something that can be sat on. In more senior claims, we see people who are involved in corruption being exposed, even in the media. For example, we know in China, for example, there was a certain rich man in China known as Bo Xilai. Bo Xilai was the richest man in China, and when he was engaged in corrupt practices, he was exposed and sentenced to jail. So you can see, if all of these things are happening in countries like China and they don't look at your influence, they simply expose you, I think it will be good. And you can see also the way and manner this present administration has put in a lot of pressure and heat on the business communities. We saw the leading business people being brought to task by this administration. We saw how the government met with them and persuasively also told them there's a need for them to bring down the prices of their commodities, or else they open that sector of investment and allowed other people to come and make investment. Because at the moment, the hegemonists along that route have monopolized that aspect of business, and previous administration was the one that actually helped them to make this monopoly. Now this government is now threatening them that they are going to make open the whole thing so that anybody can come into that business. As it is now, only few people can bring in sugar, only few people can produce cement, only few people can produce salt, only few people can produce most of the Indomie and all of those pastas. And so you can see that if this government is coming with such kind of threat, it will help not only to remove monopoly, but to also allow other players to come in and do a lot of businesses. And by so doing, we'll be able to see so many prices of similar items, and then the consumer will be at liberty to make his choice. So, yeah, I mean, the fight against corruption, even though not so much pronounced, but I think the government is making inroads as far as the fight against corruption is concerned.
All right. 0903-880-8883 is the number to call in. Of course, make your comment. So you can post your comment on our Facebook page, Prestige FM Mina. We are streaming live on Facebook page, Prestigefm91.7mx. On YouTube, Prestigefm91.7mx, and on radio app, prestigefmradio.org.ng. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Who do I find line?
Dr. Ntola, good morning.
Morning, MD Olko.
Yes, sir. This is MD Ol from Papua.
All right, MD, make your comment.
Madam Memona, I must commend you always. Dr. Ntola, I must commend you for a wonderful analysis.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Ntola, there is one thing I just want to point out. I don't think this government, you understand, or preceding government, you understand, they are ready to tackle this issue of corruption in this country. Because why am I saying so is that, Dr. Ntola, you can see we are having a lot of setback in this country just because of corruption. If you have, you understand, your field day with the present government, you understand, even if you have to embezzle the entire Nigerian money, you understand, nobody will talk about you. Or even, there are a lot of us, the government personnel being arrested, you understand, Dr. Ntola. Now nobody is hearing about them anymore. You can see the issue of this former AGF, you understand, with billions of naira, you know, who is hearing about him now? Nobody. So there are a lot of government officials that siphon government money, you understand. After some time, nobody will hear about those people anymore. So what are we seeing? I know this government can only try little best, you understand, but in terms of fighting corruption, but I don't foresee any, you understand, government that can fight corruption in Nigeria, because I'm saying to my understanding, honestly, because there are a lot of abnormal.
MD, if you listen to me carefully, that is why I say corruption in Nigeria has become very systemic. While in more advanced crime, they will simply take the culprit to court immediately. In Nigeria, most of the times, they simply settle for plea bargain. I hope you understand what plea bargain is.
Yes, Dr. Desola, do you know what is that? Hello, sir.
Yes, so most of the times in the issue of a plea bargain, hardly you get to hear about what actually transpired. And you see the culprit walking freely on the street. This is because a plea bargain deal has already been struck. It's either he has returned a huge amount of money and then is returning the remaining parts instrumentally, and hence he's allowed to move around so that he can look for the remaining part of that money. So this is what usually happened in Nigeria.
I understand you, Dr. Ntola, quite okay. But one thing I just want to point out is that Dr. Ntola, if assuming those people being arrested, you understand, Dr. Ntola, they have been punished, you understand, according to the law of the land. Nobody wants to siphon government money. But once you are having, you have a privilege for you to access either Mr. President or Vice President, you understand, the issue will just go, you understand, under the carpet. Nobody will hear about it. So that is one thing I'm just my worries about. So that is
All right.
most of our government officials are having, you understand, to support government money. They are not continuing to build trust and religious in this country. That's my take.
Thank you very much. Okay, plea bargain is also done all over the world. It's not just peculiar to Nigeria.
Yes, of course.
Especially on high financial cases and others that has to do with national interest. So it's not a new thing in Nigeria.
It's not a new thing, the fact that it has been practiced in Nigeria. Because in plea bargain, the government is hopeful of recouping all the money if you allow the culprit to move freely so that he can look for the remaining part of the money. But most at times, individuals who are engaged in plea bargain are usually those who have cooperated with the law enforcement agents and have cooperated with the government and have decided that maybe because they still knows political ambition, they wouldn't want their names to be soiled. Hence, they will simply go for that plea bargain. And then there are those again who, because of public disgrace, may not want to be arraigned before a law court, and hence they will rather settle for plea bargain while they look for the remaining part of the money. It's only those who have remained recalcitrant and continue to argue with the law enforcement agencies despite glaring evidences. Those are the ones that usually go to court. But I believe me, if you don't hear anything, that doesn't mean that those individuals are not being squeezed. And that does not mean that those individuals have been let loose. No. It is because they've signed some series of agreements to continue to return the money installmentally.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Dansala, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
First of all, I want to appreciate you for the way you introduce yourself each time you come to.
Hello.
Your introduction is always devoid of your title. You are devoid of that ego of title. So I want to appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Secondly,
what's your name?
In Nigeria, Emmanuel, I'm calling from Metumbi.
All right. Emma. Please call back. Thank you, Emmanuel. All right, 090388088883. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Aunt Hadimuna, good morning.
Morning,
Dr.
get with the challenger.
Good morning.
Morning.
You see, Dr. Dantala, the government of the day is trying to fight corruption to make sure that things move smoothly in the issue of corruption, to tackle it. But the problem we are always having is this free bargain. And secondly, again, if you take a look at it, if free bargain continue like this, it's like the government will be encouraging people to loot government money and government property, so that at the end of the day, free bargain will take place. And it is not the best. Other countries like China and co, they don't do things like that. When you lose government property or money, you be persecuted. And it is not the best. We have a lot of them over here in Nigeria. At the end of the day, they will go for free bargain. And at the end of the day, you see more people who come into it and be doing it. And it is not the best. If you take a look at it, this government, we know how far and wide they have gone fighting corruption. But at the end of the day, reverse is the case. They are still in investigation. Before you know, Shuru Zakaji. So please, in anything government of the day is doing, they should fear God, and there should be equity, justice, and fairness. And there should be what you call modesty in anything they do. So the president and his lieutenant should step up and do the needful, because we are looking up to them as a role model. They should do the needful.
Thank you. Gebu the challenger. Ali Yahaya is not about reporting them. It's all about assessing Mr. President. I can remember when Honorable Kazari tried to assess former president because of corruption that was going on in CBN, but they try everything in their power to stop him from getting access to president. So, Mr. President still needs to look at the people he has around him. Aliu A. Yahaya. Thank you for that comment.
Yes, but it was not senator. It's a rape.
Okay.
Budaji Kazori.
Say honorable. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Auntie Maimuna. Good morning, Professor Dantala. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I see the main prayer for Elijah Abdul Hadi photo coming from good people from Government and Boso. You see, the fight of corruption in this country must not be left for one person alone. President went travel
to revise some invest to Nigeria, his country, our country. Give them the sign that any of my people in my country who demand anything for you people, you should be reported. That is fine now to say all the world that that his country are corrupt. And you see, it's not being good image to us. I might not have an option to tell them because you know who you are, you know what is happening in this country. I think this is time now our people to know, to shine our eyes that corrupt people, corrupt country, you will not take anybody to anywhere. And the investment is coming. Please and please, they should stand off what our president has told them. Whoever demand anything, cheat 1 naira from them, it should be reported. And I think those people will be taken care of. Because we will not remain like this. But you will not move any forward. That corrupt, evil,
all right.
corrupt. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that comment. Fight against corruption. President Tinubu directing Qatari investors to report any government official who demands for bribe. 090388088883 is the number to call in. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Jolly Kuta.
All right, Jolly Kuta, make your comment.
Yes, good morning, TV. Good morning, Dr. Dantela Mohammed.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, my contribution in this issue today is not far-fetched, considering the fact that every Nigerian has his own share of the blame about corruption. So that is why it has been very difficult as to where to start. But in due course, we are going to overcome it. The issue of the life sentence, as implemented by Chinese government. Nigeria wanted to bring it, but United States of America and other countries were talking about human rights. So this human rights, if we do not close eyes and overlook it, we will not go anywhere. So it will take us time, but actually we are trying. We had New Rubado, we have Farida, one lady like that. Yes. So Farida was really. But at the end of the day, what happened to them after they have satisfactorily done their job? They were being haunted for one reason or the other. So that is just to tarnish their image. So whoever is going to fight corruption in this country, that is how it's going to end. But I strongly believe that if this campaign continues, definitely one day we shall talk to ourselves. It is our own business. So one day God will touch our mind, we will talk to us, we will say, this is that we are doing, well, honestly, we are doing our country bad. So we had better stop. And that is when I think we'll begin to have relief over it. But at this point in time, well, we should continue. We should never give up fighting corruption. We should never give up, definitely. Obasanjo has done a lot of good in that aspect for us, for bringing in EFCC and the ICPC. So we should use them honestly, and then we'll see what God will answer us.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jody. Saluhu Ibrahim Leung, he is saying on our Facebook page, may it not stop on the pages of the newspapers. Amen. Thank you very much, Saluhu Ibrahim Leung. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Maimuna.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Zampala. This is Mr. Butre from the Wishishi Estate.
Right.
Very good. I am happy with what the President said in Dubai. You see, if you have a challenge, you should accept your challenge first before you know how to tackle it squarely. I'm happy that, in fact, he said, in case any of the investors is approached for a bribe in his country, the person should report it directly to him. I think it shows to these people that, yes, Nigerians may be corrupt, or Nigerians are corrupt, but you should not associate yourselves with that corruption if at all you really want to invest in our country. You see, these foreigners, they have a way of tackling us. Anyway, we did it ourselves. We cannot blame anybody. I remember when former Prime Minister of Britain, this Gordon Brown, said to former President Buhari, that Nigerians are fantastically corrupt. And Buhari replied to him, yes, Nigerians are fantastically corrupt, but help me recover the foreign stock in your country. So if you know we are corrupt, yes, it's true, we are corrupt, but with the aid of some foreigners sometimes.
They are foreign collaborators.
Yes, I'm happy that he told them openly, yes, you are coming to invest in my country. Yes, my country is corrupt, but you should not associate with corruption in our country. Thank you very much. Let them come and invest peacefully. Thank you. Government should increase.
Thank you, Mr. Bute.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Bute, and I also agree with the former President Buhari, because for every corrupt Nigerian, there is also a corresponding corrupt person elsewhere, and that is why corruption in Nigeria continues to thrive. Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
My name is Kasim, calling from Bugano.
All right, sir, make your comment.
Dr. Entala, I want to commend you for your words, the way you analyze everything. It's very, very commendable.
Thank you so much, sir.
What I really don't understand is, with all these NLC protests and everything that is going on, nobody is even talking about amending our constitution on how to tackle corruption. If the National Assembly are not going to be ready to take the bull by the horn, we the people, the masses, can't we occupy all the House of Assembly and tell them this is what we want? We can see ourselves there.
Well, let me be sincere to you, Let me be sincere to you. There is nothing wrong with our constitution. There is nothing wrong with Nigeria's constitution, but a lot of things are wrong with Nigerians themselves. Even if you change the constitution 1,000 times, we still have problems. In as much as we will not live an upright life. The problem is Nigerians themselves, not the constitution. The British don't have constitution. They rule by simple agreement of the Magna Carta, and that has been what has been there for over a century. So if Britain can be ruled without constitution, how much more of Nigeria?
Dr. Entala,
yes,
I think it's high time we start exposing them. Then we start exposing them, tell people who they are.
All right.
Because in Niger State, the past administration, we know how corrupt the people in that government were. And up to today, everything is ethnic. Nobody is hearing anything.
All right. Thank you very much. But we have different avenues for the citizens to report corrupt practices and allegations against people, and the authorities will definitely take
all the provisions of the constitutions are clear and how they could be implemented. But there are problems on the way and manner we implement the constitution itself, and that has always been the problem. And anytime we talk about constitutional review, constitutional amendment, we amend it in such a way that it will suit our purpose. At least the purpose of those who were amending it at the time. And when new generation comes in, they also want to re-amend it to suit their own purpose. Look at the Electoral Acts amendment. Look at all sorts of amendments that we are doing in the past. The amendment in the Constitution. Yet, the Constitution is still, they still want to review the Constitution again. There's nothing wrong with the Constitution.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
This is A. Bello.
All right, calling from
my TV.
All right, sir, make your comment.
Please, I just want to say one to two things regarding to your discussion this morning.
Go ahead.
Actually, a lot of things has been happening in the country, of which nobody. In fact, sometimes if you are talking about Nigeria, the corrupting country, sometimes we look at individual level, how we have been moving with our people around, and to the extent our people around, how have they been also moving with some other people around. Like once if you look at the government these days, I will go and commit an offense now. So I must have somebody in the government that immediately whatever happens, another person will come and, okay, they will just come and back me, even though my offense been committed or not. They will just come and back me for nothing. So the most important thing is to just share what actually happened. they'll bring what you have and let us share it together. So from then I have somebody in the government, so the person will be going up and on, up and on. At the end of the day, they'll say, okay, the matter is they should go and come back in the next 1 month, next 3 months. So before you know, the regime has ended. So come back to this very government that we're in today, like President Bola Tinubu, our president. Actually, he's doing the right thing. But let us look at it. Let us look at it at the starting point. How did he start? He know that Nigeria, our people is being corrupt. Virtually, since he know that our people have been corrupt, and also when he's bringing people to the country, he's now telling the people Nigeria are corrupt, so don't agree with your people. So what is the impression has been given to Nigerians? I also advise, if possible, as being a president, he wouldn't have, because we have agencies that they have been trying to tackle the corruption, such as EFCC, ICPs, and what have you. So he could have encouraged them. He could have given them the backup. If there's any problem, he shouldn't be interfering with that. So look at these are very. This Jigawa guy that was been out of the government without any problem, without any proper investigation, simply because he was trying to do 1 to 2 things. So the president just setting out of the government without any. So what has he done? So actually, in this our country now, not that actually we cannot make it, but we have gone far beyond. I will make it, but very difficult.
All right. Thank you very much.
May God save us all.
Amen. Abubakar Sadiq, Internet Kijipta, is saying, I support fair government fight against corruption. Thank you. Jafar Ibrahim Bendiga, corruption. When will Nigeria stop speaking about corruption and corrupt people to start talking about successes? May Allah guide us and those so-called elites who are running our country because of their greed and pocket interest. Well done. All right, thank you very much. And kudos to Dr. Antala for his fearless contribution in speaking out the facts and figures without looking back in his submission. Thank you and good morning. Thank you, Jafar Ibrahim Bendiga. Isayam Asali, I don't have much problem with President Bola Tinubu in statements in Qatar, even though his statement is somehow wrong, but what he said is nothing but the truth. Corruption in Nigeria is totally getting out of hand. Enough is enough. If you are a corrupt person and you are not okay with Mr. President's statement in Qatar, please repent. Musa Kalla, no economic reform without economic distress. If you have gone far on the wrong path, retracing your step is not always easy. Mr. President, you are on the right path. Ignore critics and keep moving. Thank you, Mansour Musa Kalla. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Auntie Nemula.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Comrade Alba. I'm calling from Mina.
All right, comrade.
Thank you, comrade.
Okay, with relate to the marching order issued by Mr. President to report any bad practices based on the MOU signed by him. As for me, it is a wild goose chase, owing to the fact that the president was pointless, in his assertion. One will expect the president should have really a kind of redeemed the confidence, of these international communities over the purported, corruption that, has become an endemic against Nigerians. At least that will make them to have a kind of new look of Nigeria as a country that is really fighting corruption. Because one thing about this developed economy, therefore, is that you get the taste of your own medicine. They treat you the way you are. So, and there is no how the president just from telling them to report anyone that tries to kind of engage in corrupt practices for them to believe Mr. President. So I expect Mr. President to a kind of point to recount, several, corrupt practices that he has prosecuted to the latter. So that will kind of resuscitate the confidence of this international community. But the mere assertion of to report anybody, that is to say, there is this skeleton in our cupboard. So I think such a position of Mr. President, we need to stand beyond that. Anytime we are in dealing with advanced countries, at least we should try to give Nigeria a good image that will kind of make this community, to hold on in high esteem and to also have a kind of free acceptance over whatever proposal we have put across them. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. And Doctor, that's the last caller we take in the program.
Yes,
corruption.
That was why you see in my submission I said Mr. President's statement was a pragmatic statement, even though it is a correct statement about Nigeria, but diplomatically it is wrong. I expect him to say just exactly what Awal Balakuta have just said now, to begin to narrate to the investors the effort the government is making in fighting corruption. And maybe you can cite examples, one or two instances where the government has recorded successes in the fight against corruption. That will actually encourage them. But again, of course, he has made his statement, and the investors are quite aware of this, and Nigerians are equally aware of this, and there's the need for every Nigerian to rally around Mr. President so that these investors, when they come in, they will appear to be making a lot of positive contributions to our economic stability. All right, fight against corruption is a collective effort and commitment coming from all. That's about the size of the program Nigeria to be taking this beautiful Wednesday morning. You can join us tomorrow for a fresh package of the program on behalf of the DCA on duty, talking about Ibrahim Gimba and of course Stephen Jia and of course Dr. Muhammad Bantala Ali. My name is Maimuna Muhammad Babangida saying good morning.